We helped them go from $300K a month to $2 million a month over, 3 years? We spent, it was $176,000 in a single day on Facebook ads. And the crazy thing about it is we did nothing different. We did that with like a CBO campaign. Broad targeting, auto everything, like just let it roll.
I've got a special guest, another YouTuber here, actually, one of the biggest names when it comes to talking Facebook ads or really just scaling in general with paid media. You've probably seen him. You've probably seen some of his videos. If you ever searched anything about Facebook ads, I have Nick Theriot with me. Thanks for joining me, my man.
What's happening, John? Nice to meet you, man. Nice to, or appreciate you having me on the podcast specifically. I'm excited to dive into this.
Let's do it. So walk me back, when did you first start going down the path of make money online or run paid ads, or how did you get here?
I mean, I think like making money online, I would say like, I don't know, as early as like 10 years old, I was looking at like making money online. I discovered this thing called YouTube, which a lot of you like upload videos and stuff. And at the time I was just like watching people on YouTube. Yeah. And it wasn't until like, I started watching YouTube at like 8 years old. So it wasn't until like I was like 10 years old where I was like starting to discover like, oh shit, people are actually making money from YouTube. And I loved playing Call of Duty at the time. So I was just like, I can literally play Call of Duty, upload videos, and make money. So as early as literally 10 years old, I discovered you can make money online. And I literally, the only way I thought you could make money online was just uploading YouTube videos, playing Call of Duty, and make money. And then over the years, I found out there's like other ways to make money online with like trading, running Facebook ads. I mean, to be fair, there's a million different ways to make money online. But over the course of, from 10 years old all the way up to, I'm 28 years old right now. Over the last 18 years, I've explored around different ways to make money online. Back in 2015, I started washing cars and started a detailing business to wash cars for people, just so I could quit my like part-time job because it was just a lot more lucrative to wash a car at $100 a car versus, that would take me 2 hours to do versus like work a job that was paying me $10 an hour. So it's just way more lucrative on the car side.
Did you skip university or did you go?
I went to university for 2 semesters. I started my detailing business in my first semester. So like my first semester, literally the first half of my first semester, I like treated it seriously and stuff like that. And in the back half, like my detailing business started to like take off. So like I didn't treat it seriously at all. And then I went for like another semester, and I only went for the first half of my second semester before just, all right, I'm done with this. And I was just more because my parents wanted me to go. And they're like, well, look, if you're not going to treat it seriously, like, we're not going to pay for you to keep going. So I dropped out.
So what year was that?
Wait, what's that?
What year was that?
2015. So, yeah. So that was 2015. Technically, like, it was like April of 2016 that I officially dropped out. My first semester was August of 2015.
Nice.
And then, basically scaling up the detailing business, needed a way to acquire customers. So I went on YouTube and just searched up like how to acquire customers for like a business, basically. And then Facebook ads came up as one of the like recommended things. So for me, I was just like, cool, I'll try it out. You can start off with like $3-4 a day, like super, super low budget.
Yep.
And I remember my first month running Facebook ads for my detailing business. I spent $500 to make back $5,000. And that was back in 2015. That was October 2015, actually. So I would just post a picture of the car we cleaned, throw a daily budget behind it, and then it would just get me sales. It was very easy.
Sick, man. Yeah, I owned a gym for 10 years before I got into like first e-commerce and then moved into lead gen as an affiliate. And I remember 2013 I think it was 2013 2014 when I ran my first Facebook ad. I had no idea what I was doing. I just threw money up and we would see people come in the door. It was crazy, right? Like you could be really average, just do a few things right and it would work. Obviously that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, 2015 days, it was nice. It was that's back when you still had the power editors, what they would call it. Working the ads manager, it was the power editor.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was cool because like you didn't have to do much to win with Facebook ads back then. You get cost per clicks of like 10 cents, like insanely good things. Like it was cool watching TikTok ads come out in 2020 because when TikTok ads start rolling out in 2020, we got to kind of experience those same early days as Facebook ads where, cost per click is like 2 cents, 3 cents, 10 cents. And then it's just like, holy shit, this is cheap as hell. Now, to be fair, I haven't ran TikTok ads since 2020. So I'm actually very curious to see what it's at now, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's around $1.
I actually just met with I spoke at a conference for pay per call, like the lead gen pay per call space in Denver last week.
Nice.
And there was a guy, like a rep from TikTok there, that focuses specifically on working with affiliates, and he's getting me set up. And I've just avoided TikTok ads because every time we try to get started, we get banned, and no one can really explain why. So I don't know if it's going to help working with a rep. It may, but I'll let you know if we see anything from it.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, we've worked with a lot of clients now, and I've never seen a TikTok account spend more than 10% of what we're spending on Facebook. So if we're spending $100,000 a month, then like TikTok, the most we'll be able to spend is like 10K a month. Now, I've ran TikTok ads myself a little bit during 2020, and I've worked with numerous brands that had numerous different TikTok agencies that were all quote unquote good, and I've never seen someone outspend more than 10%. Now what I know crushes on TikTok is the TikTok shop. That crushes, and that's pure organic right there. So just like mass getting as many creators as you can on your TikTok shop to promote your product. And then from there, using all that content on Facebook. So it's like it crushes on the TikTok side, but then it allows you to have a lot of content for your ad account that like just doubles the value of that content you're getting back.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen a lot of guys make a pivot to that. A lot of YouTubers are now shifting away from learn how to do Shopify dropshipping with paid traffic to learn how to become a TikTok creator or build like a network of TikTok creators that are your traffic, which is super smart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot lower budget, right? If you just have to pay a creator literally like only when they get you sales and stuff, you're literally just paying now for like cost of product to ship it out to a bunch of creators and the time it takes to like master queue a bunch of creators. So it's definitely smart. I think it's just like another section of traffic, right? Like every great brand, you have a variety of different traffic sources. And as you add in more, it's not like we need to like cut all the other ones out and only go on that one. It's like, okay, cool. We have Facebook ads solidified. Now let's go do TikTok organic. That's doing amazing. Let's go do Google search. Let's go do YouTube influencers, Instagram influencers. Let's go do SEO. Let's go to AppLove. And I know that's another popular one, and some of the native websites and stuff like that. And that's what I see the most common in brands that do like multiple millions of dollars in revenue in the e-com space.
The biggest brands you work with, what's their average monthly spend across all channels, and what's their top 3 traffic sources?
It's a good question. I would say probably 10 to 20K a day. That's average, right? Like that's the majority of our clients, that 10 to 20K a day range. Obviously you have like your couple oddball accounts. We've had a couple accounts that we've been able to spend over $100,000 a day. I know I recently just made a post about this on my YouTube channel where it was like, we did $625,000 in a single day for one client. And I think it was $176,000 in a single day on Facebook ads. And the crazy thing about it is we did nothing different than like if I was spending $100 a day on Facebook. It's just literally a couple extra zeros and that's it.
What would you say that is? I would imagine it's a combination of a solid offer and then good creatives and an optimized funnel, more or less.
That's it. That's it. And like that's the thing that people overlook. They're like, all right, if I need to do $200,000 in a day, I need like 50 campaigns, lookalikes, bid caps, like all this crazy shit. It's like we did that with like a CBO campaign. Broad targeting, auto everything, like just let it roll.
I think this is also a good point too, man, because like for example, I debated on, you've probably seen Charlie T's videos. He does agency work, but he's very on the other end of the spectrum of oh, it doesn't matter what your front end CPA is. Like it's all about just driving more customers through your funnel. And I get what he's saying if you're working with like brands that have unlimited budget, but at the same time, the front end CPA actually does matter, right?
Yeah,
And but
absolutely.
he's too far of extreme in that sense, and he preaches this. I'm like, dude, like this isn't true. If you could actually maintain a good CPA for your for your client, if you disregard that, you're doing a massive disservice. Whether it's as an affiliate where you live and die by the front end, or
Hmm.
if you're doing an agency, like you're kind of like bullshitting your client if you're like, hey, we're just going to get you more sales at whatever cost. That's insane.
Hmm. And that's the thing. It's like I was talking to a student earlier about this because they were kind of like in the same thing. They sent me this very, very blanket statement that was true for some brands, but was false for some other brands. And it's like, technically, that guy that just posted that comment, he's not wrong, but he's also wrong depending on what brand you have. So, like Charlie T, for example, he technically is correct when you're thinking about brands that are like multi, I would probably even say $1 million, like $1 billion brands. Like
Gold
probably just gets brands that can literally operate at like a point 10 ROAS,
Yeah.
but for the affiliate offer, yeah, terrible. For the person who's literally just starting their ecom business and has no LTV yet and has no like they have to be first order profitable or they're literally won't be able to pay their bills. They can't just go, oh, let's go scale out a point 10 ROAS and at the end of the month be on the hook for a $30,000 ads bill and then be like, oh, fuck, how are we going to pay that? So like in certain cases, yeah, like it's not necessarily wrong, but it's not necessarily right. And that's where like I think it's important. It's important for new people just getting in this space to understand that context. And then it's also the most difficult thing for people that are just getting in this space. Like me and you, we both can kind of like look and be like, okay, hey, we can make an educated decision around that data that person just gave us.
Yeah.
Whereas like new people, they're just simply falling for literally everyone's mechanism they're pushing in the space. And then it's like I saw something earlier today. It was called commercial collection pages, where basically you take a normal collection page you normally do, but all you're doing is building a landing page with a collection page put into it. So it's like a little bit of a landing page, kind of highlighting your brand and then going all into the collection you're promoting and stuff. So I thought it was pretty cool. But it's just like, I can't wait for one of my clients to message me, Nick, why aren't we doing commercial landing pages or commercial collection pages? And it's like, I've mentored so many students that they'll come to me and they're like, I'm confused. This person says this person says that, this person says that. And that's honestly some of the hardest things for people that are like just getting started out, is sorting through the data, sorting through who's right, who's wrong, what specifically applies to me, what specifically doesn't apply to me. And that's my favorite thing with like my content over the last couple of years, is because I was in that same boat and I was just like, okay, hey, I'm just going to go test it all. I'm going to see what works, what doesn't, and I'm just going to make content about it. And that's how I've been able to generate my name over the last couple of years.
Yeah, man. Well, how did you get started with the agency, and when did you actually start taking on clients? Or
Well,
was there something in between the car detailing before the agency?
yeah, so I was doing the car detailing, like I said, started growing the business, car detailing business with the Facebook ad side, and hovered around 60K, 100K. I think the most we've ever did was like 200K in a year for the detailing business. Keep in mind, it's like 90% profit margin. So like it was doing good. Also had a partner as well, 50-50 partners. So like when I say 200K, we probably had about a 50K in expenses. So then we split the last 150K. So, I think the most I ever made that business was like 75K in a year. The problem with the detailing business, it's manual labor. And
Yep.
look, before the detailing business, I worked 40, 50, 60 hours a week as a landscaper. So I would cut 10, 20 yards a day driving a lawn truck for like half the week. And the other half of the week, I was like ripping mulch out of beds and like putting plants down, trees, like all of that. And I was getting paid for $10 an hour.
Yeah.
And I live in Louisiana, and it's extremely hot in Louisiana from a humidity perspective. So like being outside 110, 120 degrees in the summer, full of humidity and stuff for 10 hours a day, slaving away. I was just like, fuck this. So the detailing business, I was starting to experience kind of the same thing. And then also too, like, let's just keep in mind, like I'm just washing people's cars. If we look at it from the perspective of how do you actually become like a millionaire, billionaire, all that, it's the level of problem you solve at the end of the day. And like for me, I'm just thinking like I'm literally just solving the problem of someone's car's dirty. So like, I really can't get like generational wealth off of this unless I go build a ton of car washes. And let's just be fair, there's already a car wash on literally every corner of
Yeah.
every street. So like there's not more car washes that need to be done. So then I was loving the Facebook ad side. Like I started noticing that like I was loving playing around with click funnels, building out funnels and stuff for the detailing business. Like I was having a lot of fun on the marketing side of the business. I was just like, you know what? Like, what if I was able to do this, but for other businesses? And then that way, the more clients I close, it's not like, oh, fuck, more work. Because the detailing business is like, all right, crack the killer funnel. Now I'm like, damn, now I got to wash like 30 cars this week. So that became one of the problems right there. But yeah, so started falling out of love with the detailing business, realizing that I built a new skill set that could actually go and be super valuable because now I'm literally cracking customer acquisition for businesses, and I can like change the trajectory of that business owner's life, his family's life. I can change, like he can hire more workers, which is actually employing more people. And also too, if they have a great product, we're helping more and more people receive a transformation of that product right there. So just like the level of impact right there was just like amazing. I was like, all right, this can actually help me make a fuckload more money than doing it via, just washing cars at the end of the day. So 2018, I started pitching people. I didn't know what I was doing at all. I knew what I was doing from a Facebook ad side, but I didn't know what I was doing when it came down to pitching people. So I did everything. I did cold DMs, cold emails, all kinds of stuff, like pretty much everything under the sun when it came down to like client acquisition. Closed few people from emails, sending cold Loom video pitches and stuff. My first client actually came from a referral of a family member. And that was a car dealership. So I was just generating leads for a car dealership and everything like that. Then I did like a roofing company. I did another car dealership, just quite a few random things like that. Then 2019, early 2019, I closed my first like large name, which is Bashar Katu. He's pretty big now. Like at the time, he was probably about my size where I'm at right now, and now he's like mega big now in the space. And then another girl named Edna Keep, who she did real estate investing. So closed them too. Those are like kind of my first big names and stuff like that. Didn't really get them the greatest success. Now I look back, I realized that was a huge offer problem now for what they were trying to promote. And then late September of 2019, I closed my first ecom brand, Gritty Soul, and they're doing like negative 30K a month in revenue. They were making 30K a month in revenue, but spending 30K a month as well. So they were at literally a 1.0 ROAS, and they were losing a ton of money. So came in there, ad account, made some switches and stuff. And then from there, I had my first case study. My first like notable case study took them from negative 30K a month to positive ROAS, positive ROI. We spent like 25K to make it back $100,000 in revenue.
Oh yeah. Nice.
They were a clothing brand with like 80% margins and stuff like that. So, they were profitable for once. And yeah, they came as like my first major case study. And from there, just kept stacking case study after case study. I'd make YouTube videos, basically, like I said, just documenting everything. So I'd try different ad account structures, different creative types. And over the time of me documenting that got me even more clients. And it also got me even more, started giving me views and traction and building up that brand itself.
That's sick, man. And who have been some of the biggest brands you worked with since, if you're okay sharing or dropping some names?
I'd say probably Icon Amsterdam is probably the biggest, most notable one. We came in their brand October of 2021. October 2021, they were doing 300K a month at that time right there in 2021. And I remember talking to, it was Samuel. He's the one who kind of, did the sales call with, onboarded with, and everything like that. And he's just like, Nick, like, we want to hit $1 million months, like, we want to scale fast and everything. Literally in November of 2021, I helped them hit their first ever $1 million month. And then after that, they were like, all right, Nick's the go-to guy now after that. And I think that's like the biggest thing. The faster you can get a client a win that they're chasing, like you will make a client for life. Like I have a few clients right now that they only crush it during Q4, and every year we do a bigger Q4. So like all year, like they don't say a word. Like they keep paying us and everything, but like when performance is down, they don't say a word. And then Q4 comes and we knock out the park for them, and they're like, all right, fuck yeah, you're just on payroll every year, Nick. You're not going anywhere. But yeah, so Icon Amsterdam was a cool one. We parted ways in December of 2023, right when we exited from their business. They were doing like $2 million a month in revenue, so we helped them go from $300K a month to $2 million a month over what, 2 years, 3 years. So that was a pretty big name right there. There's another brand named Bright Sport. Alex Chan, he's pretty big in Twitter and stuff like that. Yeah, we helped him do $6 million in Q4 of 2022. We scaled them from literally 30K. It was like literally 30K a month all year long. October, 300K a month. November, Black Friday time, $3.5 million in a single month. And in November, $2.5 million in a month. So Bright Sport was pretty big. Those are like
those are the footballs that light up, right?
Yeah.
Or not soccer balls, sorry.
Yeah. Well, like technically, depending on where you're at in the world, it's soccer, and then like other people, it's football. Neither one is technically wrong, depending on where you're at.
Yeah. That's
But yeah, so those are probably the main two. I have another one that's pretty large, but we're under NDA. And we help this brand scale from $1,000 a day in ad spend all the way up to our peak of 22K a day in ad spend. And then we had to scale down because they just got overloaded. They had too many clients. So they had to scale down a little bit. But we've helped them do $5 million a month, a couple months in a row. And yeah, no, this is like a mega corporation. They do over 100 million plus a year. It's sick. But again, under NDA, can't talk about it. They're in the insurance space though, so it's about as much I would give.
Fair enough. But what's been the most amount of money you've spent in a month, and then also in a single day across all?
Kind of go back to earlier what we said. I think the most we spent in a single month, for one, I'm gonna do it for one client because to be fair, I think like my all collective clients together, maybe $3 to $5 million in a month in ad spend. I don't know. We definitely don't have any $2 million clients. Like we never spent more than $2 million for a single client in 1 month. But I know we've helped a few clients spend over $1 million in a single month. So I'll say that. And I think the most we ever spent in a single month was when we helped Icon Amsterdam do $675K in a single day for Black Friday of 2023. And we spent $176,000 in a single day. Yeah, so I've spent over $100,000 a day, I think like 5 to 6 times now, for a variety of a couple different brands, but that was the biggest number right there.
What's been the difference of working with these higher volume, higher spend clients versus probably when you first got started, like the car dealerships, the lower, I'd imagine they were like a fixed monthly retainer, like 500, 1,000, 2,000 bucks a month. Like, what's been the difference in your experience working with the lower volume clients versus these high spend clients?
So I think the biggest difference is like, it's just volume, right? Like a lower spending client, like for example, I never work with low spending clients. It's very rare I'll work with low spending clients, but we have 2 clients that signed on this month because they're like multi-million-dollar investors. They're like, Nick, we know you charge 10K a month. I don't care if we're like even positive over the next 6 months. We just want you to run the ads. I'm like, okay, great. But there's also been like brand new accounts starting up and they're like, Nick, I'm a drop shipper. I have $10,000 to my name. I want to give you that last 10K to make this store successful. I'm like, no, we are not doing that because I know exactly how that's going to end.
Yep, for sure, man.
The big difference here is just speed and volume, right? Like if I launch a new ad on Monday for an account spending $100 a day, I pretty much have to wait almost literally a whole week, sometimes even 2 weeks, depending on like, how high ticket that item is right there, just to even get data back on that ad of like, is it a winning ad or a losing ad? Whereas like clients that are spending 15, 20K a day, like I literally can launch that ad Monday and Tuesday already have data back if this ad's working or not. So with more money you spend, the faster things just happen in life. In ad account and life in general. When you have more money, you can pay for, DoorDash, you can pay for maids and like all of these things to where you have just way more time now to get work done and like just things move at a faster rate. Same thing within an ad account, right? The more money you spend, the faster of which you gain data and the faster you can make decisions. Now, it is a double-edged sword because with more money spending, you also have to have a lot more volume in the account from a creative perspective, just to keep filling the account. Because, if you're spending 100K a day, for example, like, and your creatives fatigue, like if you don't have a team that can pump out 20, 30 new creatives for you, like 2, 3 days at that can like literally just blow up the account in terms of like cost per acquisition and stuff. Whereas like creative fatigue on an account spending $100 a day takes like months to happen.
There's no statistical significance at that. I mean, there is.
Yeah,
It just take too much time, man.
absolutely.
What with your ad creation or creative output? What's the percentage? Is it like 80/20, 90/10 iterations of existing proven winners against fresh concepts and ideas and angles, or how do you balance it?
Yes, I like 80/20. I like I think everything in my life I like to look at as 80/20, right? I've learned something from one of my good mentors, Jeremy Haynes, and it's called repeat successful actions. Very, very simple concept right here. When something works for you, repeat it, do it again, and keep doing it until it stops giving you the result that you need.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like if an ad creative is working, let's just go keep making iterations off of it, and it'll continue to help you scale. And like, for example, one of our clients, we took them from 10K a month to 400K a month doing the same thing. We just found a bunch of winning ads like 10, 20K a month, and we helped them scale to 400K a month just doing iterations and variations. That's it.
Have you found yourself, is it typically your responsibility to dive into the offer and split test bundles, pricing, like maybe even like split testing the product if it's something similar, or do you leave that up to the client?
Yeah, so I'll circle back to that real quick. So just to kind of finish off on the iterations and variation stuff, for this client that we helped scale to 400K a month, we only did iterations and variations. Now, 3 months later, after we hit 400K a month, they fell down to about 100K a month. So it's important when you're also doing iterations and variations, 80% of your creative output needs to be the iterations and variations, but the other 20% needs to be new things as well. Because if you just do iterations and variations, it will work for a good period of time, but then you're going to start getting to a point where, like, if you're not putting in new messaging as well, you're just going to have overall burn down on the account and stuff. Now, going back to split testing and everything and product selection and stuff like that, I think this is just more of like personal development as my marketing mindset has been built up over the years and stuff like that. I used to be just like, all right, client, what do you want me to do? I'll do it for you. Now it's more like, hey, client, do this, and if you don't do this, I'm gonna fire you. So in the beginning, like for example, we have this one client right now. We've done everything we could to make a product successful over 2 months, and I could not find anything to work. So what we were able to do here is now it's just like, hey, look, you need a new product. I did some research. Here's some of your other products on your site. Here's one has a likely good chance. And then we, made that pivot now to start testing that product. So we'll probably test it in about a week once we get all of our creatives finished and everything like that. So it's being able to recognize where, hey, there's a problem going on in the funnel and be able to identify that bottleneck and take action quickly on it. And whether that's you who, is the brand owner and you're still doing everything yourself, or that's, a marketer that's working for a client, you being able to identify that problem and bring that to their client and be like, hey, we need to take action on this fast. That's going to make you a lot more valuable than just being like, oh, hey, I just run Facebook ads. I don't touch offer.
How would you say Facebook ads has evolved from what you're seeing working with big e-com brands today versus even 2 years ago?
That's a hard question because I think macro factor, it's like now we obviously have the AI stuff. And like AI is big and probably bigger than UGC, like when UGC first hit the table. If I look at like over the last couple of years, it's like 2020, there wasn't really like anything to be taught. Oh, well, no, I think 2020, it was April 2021 that the iOS 14.5 hit. And it was kind of like late 2020 that everyone was talking about the iOS 14.5. I think all of 2020, a lot of people were just talking about like UGC and stuff like that,
Yep.
and paid UGC. Then like 2021 iOS 14.5. Then like kind of like from there, I don't really like. I haven't really seen anything huge besides like AI. It's probably the last big shift. You have the little things like Advantage Plus, which we were already doing broad targeting and like the CBO and stuff. So I look at Advantage Plus as Facebook's way of forcing that on us. But for the most part, like I haven't seen like any like substantial things that just completely quote unquote change the game like every single money Twitter person says when they're about to drop a thread. I think there's just a lot of things that just help out improve things a little bit. Like for example, AI just helps us improve the efficiency of now pumping more creatives. I would say that just didn't really change the game, but made it a lot more productive for people who know how to use it. And for the people who don't know how to use it, it just made them continue to be a terrible marketer.
Here's a question for you. I was actually chatting in some of my affiliate groups I'm in about the Andrew Media or Andrew Meta, whatever that more recent update is with the algorithm with Facebook. And we were chatting about it, and I was saying, look, like this stuff, because you'll see YouTubers that put out content around it saying, oh, it's extra simplified and consolidated. You literally just make one CBO and you launch 50 ads at a time in a new ad set. But I'm interested and curious about what your thoughts are on it, or if you're actually seeing a difference, because in my experience, I live and die by the front end margin. My targets for a CPL are often much lower than what a brand or like an actual business can afford, because they have an LTV I don't. And I think that it really does apply for someone that has that back end to whatever it is that they're selling, whether it's a physical product or a service.
Mhm.
So are you seeing any kind of shift, or have you made any changes in how you approach just media buying in general or creative production?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing for us. We started in 2022. In 2022, we shifted from, I wouldn't really say like we really made any major shifts, but like in 2022, we were running multiple campaigns. We were, still trying to like, do creative tests in an ABO campaign. We were running a lot of interest lookalikes, all of those things right there. So like there's just a lot of little things that we were kind of doing that we just don't do anymore. And I would say also at that time we really didn't like we tested new creatives, but like we didn't really test them with intention and stuff. It was just every now and then we tossed a few new ads in the account, but that was about it. So now, in it was like January 2022, we went all in on the broad CBO campaign and only focusing on creatives. And that's when we generated all of our major successes and all of our major wins. And when I look at like Advantage Plus and there's a Droma update that just came out and stuff like that, it's like, for me, it's just like Facebook's now forcing people to go broad because, like, yeah, it's called Advantage Plus, but what is the difference between Advantage Plus targeting and broad targeting? Broad targeting is just no interest, no lookalikes, just age, gender, location. Well, Advantage Plus is also age, gender, location.
Seems
So
like
I would love to know from an engineering perspective. I don't know this answer, but I would love to know from an engineering perspective. How are those two different right there? I know when you click the little further the limited reach of your ads button, it's also funny how like Meta plays this psychology game with you to like make you feel like you're making a wrong move by clicking that right there. Because before it'd just be like switch to original audience or switch to broad targeting right there. Now it's like putting this very negative like idea in your mind when you're about to click that button to make you not want to click that button. And it's hilarious how they do that. Even with the opportunity score as well, where it's like,
yeah.
oh, my opportunity score is 99. I'm not going to get a 4x ROAS. I'm only going to get a 1x. It's like, no, it doesn't impact it like that. But it is, I would love to know from an engineering perspective as well. So if there's any meta people watching this, I would love to know, yeah, the exact difference between broad targeting, where you just do age, gender, location, and Advantage Plus, because from a fundamental perspective, they're doing exactly the same thing. So the only difference would be who they go after first. And what I do find is that Advantage Plus does prioritize a little bit more warm targeting first before it goes to cold audiences to stack you a little couple quick wins first. So that's probably the only thing that like I've kind of noticed with Advantage Plus, but overall, like it still does the same results as anything else, that you're doing that's broad targeting.
Have you found any value? I don't know if you've recently retested it, but adding in big caps, cost caps onto existing like winning ads and separate campaigns against your Advantage Plus broad auto bids?
So it's not that I'm against it. I'm not against bid caps. I'm not against cost caps. But for me, it's like simplicity is key. And it's like bid caps, I'm constantly having to go judge like every person I know that does bid caps, it's like they literally like make themselves look like a Wall Street day trader where they're like, at their computer all day adjusting their bid caps and stuff like that. It's like I don't want to create more complexity, more workload and stuff like that. Yeah, like there's some like formulas you can use, your CPA, your target CPA times like 1.25, and that's your bid cap right there. But it's like, what if I'm just starting out and I don't have a target CPA, or not necessarily don't have a target CPA, I don't have any baseline CPA yet? Then it's like, I don't want to choke the algorithm too much and I can't get any learning. So that's the first thing. Cost caps, good in theory. Like I love the idea of cost caps. I think they're really good. Where I've seen them fail at is because, let's say for example, I have cost cap campaign, CBO campaign, and I'm testing new ads in that CBO to see like what works and scales in that CBO. There's been so many times we found new winning ads that have a way worse cost per result. And when I say winning, top like new ad takes all for all spin, and
Yeah.
way worse cost per acquisition, but all the other ads do substantially better now because that ad's bringing in so much cold traffic, and the overall campaign cost per acquisition lowers, and like we can spend way more money now. And it's like sometimes with cost caps, that ad would have never spent because of that, and we would have never found that winning ad. And so like there's some problems I see with cost caps and some problems I see with bid caps. I think the only last thing that I would say is like negative about it is like maybe 1 or 2 times a year you'll have like a really high budget on that CBO campaign with cost caps, and then Facebook will completely ignore your cost cap. So like if you have a $50,000 a day CBO campaign only spending like $1,000 a day on average, it'll spend the full 50, and guess what? Facebook is only going to give you like a 98-cent refund. So I think cost caps and bid caps, they're good in certain situations where it's like, we want to go 10x our spin overnight, right? Or like we have the time to sit at our ad account literally all day long and play around with it. But I think for new people and people just getting started, they end up just restricting the ad account way too much, choking it out, and just never really get any meaningful data they can learn from.
And I would imagine too, with the brands you're working with at this point, they can afford a 20% fluctuation in their cost per
yeah.
in the front. It matters, but it doesn't. And this goes back to how we started this conversation, where if you have a true LTV you're capturing, that you could technically outspend everyone else that's drop shipping or trying to get started, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where the big cap cost cap argument, it's probably more relevant at this time, like in the affiliate, probably in like the lead gen space, I would say more than e-commerce.
Yeah, and then it's also too where it's like, where's your lever of control, right? And it's like, I guess every brand can have their own unique way of like competing with everyone else. Like for me, I look at like bid caps and cost caps as just quick little like not a long-term strategy. Like for example, I just got off a call with a drop shipper who scaled up a product to like $1 million a month within 30 days. and he cannot figure out at all on how to repeat the success. And he keeps like his only method is just literally downloading other people's ads, creating a new brand from their downloaded ads, launch it in the ad account, start to scale a little bit, then switch it to bid caps, put like $1,000 bid cap on it, and just beat the competition and scale it up. And then the problem is every time the product dies, they have no clue how to come up with new angles, new creatives, new ways to go about this to repeat success again and again and actually build something up at scale.
If you were to start over today and start an agency now, what would you do differently?
I would say probably the biggest thing, it's like with my agency and stuff, like I built my agency. I would almost say that I'm doing that right now because like I don't really want to say I burned down my agency in January and December, but last year the way I was building my agency, I hated it a lot. And I was building it in the most like stereotypical way. Hey, you have the owner, you have like your your big team, your big triangle of people to manage the accounts and stuff like that. And I hated it because I was just literally a people manager every day and dealing with like HR shit every day. And I'm just like, I don't want to deal with this at all. So I shifted from that to like, I'm backing client accounts. I'm doing copywriting. I'm doing what I love, and everything I hate, I hire out around me. So like I have a media buyer that sits, like, I don't want to sit in an ad account an hour a day uploading ads. Like boom, hire a media buyer. I don't want to be sitting in like CapCut or Adobe Premiere editing videos. I hired a video editor and stuff like that. So I hired everyone around me to where like, I'm literally just sitting down, copywriting, and then like, building out landing page ideas and like offer ideas, and then talking to client and communicate that to a client. So I'm actually building the agency like how I want, not how everyone perceives the way you need to think you need to do it. And then outside of that, just having like a coaching program to hand off, like work with only 2-3 clients, and then hand off all those learnings to like my students and stuff to where I can actually scale the coaching program, be valuable to them. Because there's one way we can hit that $1 million month, either on the info product side or on the agency side. And the agency side is just miserable hitting $1 million a month. I know a few agency owners that have hit 500K, 750K, $1 million a month. They're operating at like a 5% margin and they just can't stand it at all. So it's just like, I don't want to do that. I want to just do what I love every day. That's create content, that's write some ads, hand that feedback over to like students, and then just scale up the info product game to where I can make my money from there. And then, well, Nick, how do you get your big exit in 20 years? Well, I invest like 80% of my income into S&P 500. So, I still have something that's growing and profitable. Yeah. So, I'll put, good chunk in last year and, putting more in this year. And that's my big long-term exit that I don't even have to deal with lawyers and negotiations. I can just go pull out that money whenever I want.
I know you got to wrap up, but last 1 or 2 questions. How is having a personal brand impact your life, both personally and professionally?
Personally, it hasn't impacted any way at all. And I would say the reason why is because like I'm not some type of like TikTok star or like, does dances every day or something like that. Like, I don't know if you ever heard of the guy named Dan Rue. Dan Rue, he's a guy that does like dances and stuff like that on TikTok. He's actually from my hometown. He actually knows a couple people that are friends with me, and we actually washed one of his cars when he came in town and stuff recently, or I say recently, like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But like for him, for example, he can't go anywhere without people like recognizing him and stuff because like he has multiple millions of followers and stuff. Whereas like for me, yeah, I got 50,000 followers. Yeah, I do like 300-400K views a month on Instagram, but it's like in the Facebook ads niche, that's just like, oh, it's just business, it's whatever, right? Yeah. So like personally, I don't, I've never really had any issues with like being noticed or anything like that. I think the only time that like personally it affects me is like if I go to an entrepreneur event, so technically that'd be more business side, where I'm like, all right, I'm at this event and every now and then I'll have like 1 or 2 people that are just really, really awkward with me. I'm like, bro, like just chill. And then business side, it's brought me a lot of clients. It's brought me a lot of students and stuff. So, it's like when I look at acquisition for, just clients and students and stuff, it's like I'm doing what I love. I love creating content online and stuff. And that's how I acquired students and clients. I much prefer that than sitting down all day, sending out DMs and cold emails and stuff like that. Like that just doesn't excite me. So, like literally everything around me has been built based off what I love. And then from there, it's also opened the door for like some really cool connections and stuff. In my early days, as I was building up my personal brand and stuff, there was a lot of big names in the space. For example, like Nick Shackelford,
Yep.
he literally was just like, bro, I like your content. Like, I'm not even going to charge you for a consulting call. And he was like, gave me a free consulting call. So there's been a few people that are like really big in the space that are just like, I need a quick favor. And like, bro, I'll watch your content all the time. Of course, I got you. And like, they even charge me. So not that like I was like expecting a freebie, like I was willing to pay them and everything, but like it's just kind of cool to see, one, how small this space is, and two, just like those people being really cool about it as well.
100%, man. What last thing? What do we have to look forward to you, your channel, or what are you most excited about the next 12 months?
Um, I'd say the next 12 months I'm really excited for is we have Q4 we're going into right now, so we have a lot of really cool case studies from there. Um, I know from like something I'm diving into right now is I'm spending a lot more money now on paid ads, my personal brand. So there's been a lot of cool content I'll do more around like personal branding ads and stuff. So it's just giving me a whole different niche outside of ecom, which, I'm still gonna be mostly 89% ecom, but it's also cool to kind of like just get my hands wet some other niches and stuff. And then the last thing is, with like YouTube and everything, I spent a lot of time last year kind of going after more mass market content, and it didn't really work well. Like, I got a lot of views, but it didn't work well in terms of like acquisition sources. So this year I'm kind of going back to my roots of just like producing course level, 10K, 20K course level videos for YouTube. And people are loving that. So I'll just say a lot more high in-depth videos as I get my hands wet, deeper and deeper at some of these accounts of these things we've been testing recently.
Nice, man. How can people learn more about you, connect with you, link up with you?
Yeah, Nick Theriot on pretty much any platform, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Probably the most responsive on Instagram if you DM me or anything like that. And like I said, I have a ton of really good trainings on my YouTube channel, which is literally just my name.
Cool. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you, man.
You welcome, John. Thank you for having me on, man.
See you next time.